Drew, now that you've had a couple of days, how do you assess what happened in Toronto on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, they just played really well, and we played well until we didn't, so they're a good team.
Could you feel a shift in momentum from the first half to the second half? And not to pinpoint exact play or anything like that, but just in the second half, they came out, fired up, and scored on their first two possessions, maybe three.
Yeah, I don't really pay too much attention to that, momentum-wise. I don't know if that's due to my lack of emotion, just in general, but it's just very kind of cut and dry through the process of execution, and you're kind of engulfed in that during the game. So
maybe this is a question for Tommy coming down, but you had a lot of under the coverage stuff working in the first half. You were moving the ball very well. Then the third quarter, not so much. And I know in the fourth quarter you had to go for it. You're falling behind. The third quarter, was there a stray from the plan a little bit? Because the under coverage stuff seemed to work very well.
No, I mean, that's just how they play defense. That's what they give up. Not everyone has that perspective because not everyone watches tape. They watch the TV copy and stuff and see what they see. But sometimes they got to trust the people that are paid to watch it and dissect it. That's kind of the stuff that was there. And then in the second half, they were kind of tightening up a little bit, right? Because I'm assuming they went in there and were smart and adjusted. And based on that, you adjust and go from there. I felt like Tommy always puts us in a great position as an offense. He's the best coordinator I've ever had and best coach I've ever had. He puts a lot of responsibility on the quarterback, but that's how I would want it. So at the end of the day, I would have liked to execute a little bit more, like you said, in that third quarter, but can't change it now. But yeah, I'll be better moving forward.
What can you do in the offseason to make yourself a better quarterback coming back next year?
I think that you gotta give yourself, a few weeks or whatever it takes and get away from it, and then kind of be able to take a step back. Because I'm very much so tunnel vision-esque. And then once you can kind of take a step back and reflect and look at it as a whole, you can kind of look at those things. Because when you're in it, it's very hard, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What's different about being the starter of a team, now that you've experienced a full year of it in the CFL?
It's different in the way that everyone has a plan, for you specifically, trying to do what they think is best to stop what you do well. So that's different. And then just obviously the consistent, the consistency of it. You're constantly having to do these things, whereas when you're not playing and then you play and then you don't play for a few weeks and then you play, it's a little bit different.
So what did you learn from this season?
I think you learn every season, but it's a process, like we just talked about, kind of taking a step back and thinking about, what I got to do better. And like I said, I have a great coach who's going to do the same thing, and he holds me to a high standard. I look forward to kind of getting into it and dissecting it and then improving.
You said you're going to take a few weeks to get away from it all. Mm-hmm. You have plans? What do you do to be able to get away from football?
Honestly, I just like being home, being my family. That's kind of my vacation. So I'm not like a person that goes and does much stuff. I'm kind of a homebody, but it's about the people that are there. So.
How do you assess the team's success at home? The best record all time for the Redblacks at home this season, 7-1-1. How do you assess all the success in the broad Bank Street Bullies mentality at home this season?
Yeah, the way I see it is we executed better at home, and if you execute well, you win. I don't really know why that didn't translate to on the road. Again, probably something that we can take a look at when the time is right and everything's kind of, the dust has settled a bit. So that'll be the process of, the next month, within the next month probably.
You look back at the offense and everything that happened through this year, the adversity that you had dealt with, whether it be injuries, the offense wide receiver, and you were still able to put up points and do stuff, and the confidence never wavered. What would you make of this? The offense appeared you had around you, all like two receivers, running backs, offensive line, everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really appreciated just like the mindset of the guys that were playing. Despite some of the ups and downs, we stayed together, and that's important. I never had guys complaining about not getting the ball to me. To me, that's obnoxious and that's selfish. Obviously I'm trying to get everyone the ball, but we don't deal with that here, and that's a testament to the people that they bring in, and the way that they view the game. I think that's really important, is the ability to stay together even when things are kind of tough. So
Is that when you've got your top receiver and Justin Hardy over 1,300 yards, and when he's that way, unselfish, does that maybe translate through the entire group, just to say, well, if he's not complaining about not getting the ball, then why would I?
yeah, I mean, I think that Hardy sets the standard in that room. So when you got young guys coming in, they see him and probably want to emulate him and how he does his business. So yeah, I definitely think that's important. I think it's important in every room to have a guy like that, whether that's the quarterback room, the receiver room, the offensive line room. There's kind of a standard that's held by that person, and that's kind of how it starts, and then it kind of works its way through the team.
What about, as earlier in the season, you talked about being a new guy and maybe not, speaking up as much. Now that you've got this year under your belt, how do you think you would maybe do things differently next year as far as leadership role?
Yeah, I mean, I think just inherently you become more vocal because you become more comfortable, and the comfort comes from just getting to know guys and actually taking the time to develop relationships with guys. I think that's just something that naturally happens organically, I guess, throughout the year. So yeah, I would assume that there will be a little bit more of that going on.
Excellent. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.